Peace be upon you, and welcome to a new episode. On January 25th, 2024, in a small, quiet village, suddenly, screams shattered the silence. The voice of a woman shouting from the rooftop of one of the village houses. Her entire body was on fire, smoke rising like a black column in the sky, and the flames devouring her clothes and skin mercilessly. The neighbors woke up in shock, seeing the red glow flicker in the darkness like a warning signal. The woman was running back and forth on the rooftop, desperately trying to save herself, raising her hands to the sky, screaming, "Help me! Fire! I'm burning!" But the flames refused to die down. They only grew, spreading across her body like a plague. Her voice reached the entire street, waking children and adults alike. People rushed out of their homes, some trying to climb the stairs to reach her, others throwing water from below. But it was too late, and the pain she endured was indescribable, as if her body was melting alive. An ambulance arrived quickly after a neighbor's emergency call, and the police came within minutes. They struggled to extinguish the fire using hoses and water. It was then revealed that the victim was a young woman named Reham, 22 years old, a newlywed who hadn't even completed a year and a half of marriage, a mother to a baby girl just 9 months old, and an outstanding student at the Faculty of Islamic Studies at Al-Azhar University, Kafr el-Sheikh branch. Her body was burned at least 70%, with deep third-degree burns. Doctors at the hospital tried everything to save her: surgeries, ventilators, strong painkillers. But the injuries were too severe, the pain unbearable, the kind that makes a person wish for death. Who did this? What made her end up in this state? And before we start our story, don't forget to like and share this episode so it can reach as many people as possible. Stay tuned every Saturday, Monday, and Wednesday for a new episode. Now, without further delay, let's dive into the depths of our story. Reham Nasser el-Din el-Shazli. She was born in the village of Mahalla al-Laban in Bayesian Center, Garbia Governorate, around 2002. She came from a very respectable family. Her father was a teacher at the local village school, and her family was known for their piety and high morals. Everyone in the village described them as kind and humble people. In 2006 or 2007, Reham already stood out from the other girls in the village. She was quiet, well-mannered, and loved reading and learning. Her grades were always excellent, and teachers praised her in front of her parents. By the age of 12, Reham had memorized the entire Quran, a huge achievement in the village, and people were proud of her. She was always outstanding, her grades high, her dreams big. She wanted to become a teacher or an Islamic preacher to spread knowledge and goodness among people. In 2020, after high school, she enrolled in the Faculty of Islamic Studies at Al-Azhar University, Kafr el-Sheikh branch. Every day she commuted from Garbia to Kafr el-Sheikh, a long journey of over an hour by public transport. But she was determined, studying with focus and diligence. In her second and third years, she was among the top students in her class. Her life was simple and routine, waking up early to pray Fajr, studying her lessons, going to university, coming home to help her mother with household chores, preparing lunch or cleaning, then in the evening reading Quran or studying. She dreamed of a bright future, like any girl her age. But fate had other plans. And the story began to change in mid-2022. In mid-2022, while Reham was still at university, she received a marriage proposal from a young man in the same village. His name was Ahmed, 27 years old, from an ordinary family in the village. He worked in South Sinai in tourism, so he was away most of the time, only coming home for about 5 days each month to visit his family and spend time in the village with his mother and siblings. Ahmed was an ordinary young man, kind in his dealings, but a bit weak in character, especially in front of his mother. He wasn't the type to face problems with courage. Instead, he always tried to calm things down without direct confrontation. At first, Reham's family refused the marriage proposal. They said, "Let her finish her studies first, Reham. You're still only 20 years old and education is important for your future. Marriage can wait." But Reham, after meeting Ahmed for the first time, told her family, "I feel comfortable with him. I agree to the marriage. I don't want to miss this opportunity. He's a kind young man from a respected family." After a long discussion at home, her family agreed, but with one strict condition: Reham must continue her education after marriage, and no one from Ahmed's family should prevent her from going to university. They said clearly, "This is a basic condition. If you don't agree, the marriage will not happen." Ahmed immediately agreed and said, "I accept. Reham will continue her education, and I'll help her with that." His family also agreed, including his mother, who at first seemed like any kind-hearted mother-in-law. She told Reham's family, "Reham will be like my own daughter. She will continue her education, and I'll even help her at home. Don't worry." The wedding took place in late 2022, a simple village celebration where everyone was happy. Reham then moved to live in her new family's home, a small apartment on the second floor above her mother-in-law's apartment. The mother-in-law lived downstairs with her other children, including her younger son Taher Abdelrahman, who worked as a tuk-tuk driver in Bassion and the surrounding villages. Life seemed simple, but this is where events slowly began to grow more complicated. In the beginning, after the marriage in late 2022, everything seemed perfect. Reham was happy, and Ahmed treated her well when he returned from work during his short vacations. He would spend those 5 days with her, and she became pregnant quickly in early 2023, just a few months after the wedding. By mid-2023, she had given birth to a baby girl. The little girl was only about 5 to 9 months old when the tragedy happened. Reham tried to balance between her baby and her studies. She would go to university, come back, and breastfeed her daughter. But as the months passed, toward the end of 2023, conflicts started to gradually grow. This laid the foundation for an indirect plan for the crime, like building a wall of hatred, brick by brick. Fatma, the mother-in-law, was very controlling, domineering in every detail of the household, especially the money. Ahmed used to send his entire salary from his job to his mother Fatma, and she was the one who controlled all the expenses of the household. Even when Ahmed sent extra money to Reham for her college or for the baby's needs, Fatma would take it from her by force, saying, "Give me that money. I'm the one who runs this house. You have no right to keep money for yourself." At first, Reham tried to avoid problems. She stayed in her upstairs apartment, raising her baby, studying, keeping to herself. But Fatma constantly harassed her. Every morning she would say, "Come downstairs, Reham. Clean the flat, cook for the whole family, wash Ahmed's brother's clothes. You're here as a servant. My son Ahmed brought you to serve me and his siblings, not to study." And whenever Reham said she was going to university, Fatma would insult her. "We didn't bring you here to study, Reham. We brought you here to serve. What did those who studied gain from their education? Sit at home like other women. Your studies are just a waste of your time and your household." The disputes escalated in November 2023, especially when Reham tried to balance her university in Kafr el-Sheikh, the baby, and the house. She would wake up early, get ready, carry her daughter, and leave for university. But Fatma objected every time, saying, "Leave the baby with me. When you come back in the afternoon, do the housework. Studying isn't important now. Ahmed, the husband, was weak in front of his mother. Every time Reham told him about the problems when he returned from his monthly trips, he would just say, "Be patient, Reham. My mother is an old woman. She'll calm down with time. Just bear with it." He couldn't confront his mother directly. When he tried to tell her, "Mother, let Reham continue her studies. That was a condition of the marriage," Fatma would lash back. "Ahmed, you have no personality. You just listen to your wife. She's controlling you, trying to take you away from me, continuing her education to be better than us. I'm the one who decides in this house." Fatma then began complaining daily to her younger son, Taher, about Reham. "Your brother's wife talks back to me, disobeys me, and wants to keep studying and leave the house. You, Taher, are the one who must protect my dignity." Taher listened to this every day, boiling inside, thinking, "I have to defend my mother. Reham is upsetting her every day." In December 2023, Reham reached a breaking point from all the pressure. After a heated argument with Fatma about money, she went to her parents' home and told her mother, "I can't stand Fatma anymore, Mother. She treats me like a servant, takes the money Ahmed sends me, and stops me from studying. I don't want to go back to them." Reham's mother, like many traditional village mothers, replied, "You're only a guest here, my daughter. Your real home is with your husband, in his family's house. Go back and endure it. That's how families are. Arguments are normal. With time, Fatma will calm down, be patient, and pray to God." So Reham returned after 2 days, but the problems continued. Fatma increased the pressure, telling her, "Every day, close your apartment and come live with us downstairs. And give me the money Ahmed sends you. I'm the one who manages this house. You won't keep any money for yourself. This is my home, and I'm the one who decides." Reham confided in her uncle, Haj Ibrahim, who tried to intervene. He told Fatma, "Let the girl continue her studies." That was a condition of the marriage, but Fatma wouldn't listen. By early January 2024, matters had collapsed. Fatma threatened Ahmed, "If you don't obey me, Ahmed, I'll throw you and Reham out of the house. Let your wife take care of you then." Afraid for his family, Ahmed decided to take a bold step. He tried to find a rental apartment outside the family home. After searching in the village and nearby areas in Bezion, he found a small flat at the entrance of the village on the main road. The rent was cheap, so around January 10th, 2024, he moved there with Reham and their baby. For about 2 weeks, they lived there in relative peace. Reham was finally happy, but deep inside, she still felt uneasy, as though something bad was about to happen. On January 20th, 2024, Ahmed left again for his job. Fatma called him several times, saying, "Come back to the family house, Ahmed, and bring Reham with you. She'll be safer with us. Don't leave her alone in that apartment. The village is small and people are talking." Fearing for his wife and baby, Ahmed gave up the rented apartment and took Reham back to the family home on January 22nd, 2024. If only he hadn't done that. That mistake opened the door to disaster, because Fatma had been waiting for this opportunity to increase her pressure and incitement. Now we come to the day that changed everything. On the morning of January 25th, 2024, at around 8 a.m., Reham was coming down from her apartment on the second floor, carrying her baby girl in her arms. She was on her way to university because she had an important midterm exam. It was the half-year exam period, and Reham was terrified of failing and having to repeat the year. Fatma stopped her downstairs and asked, "Where are you going this early, Reham?" "Leave the baby and get down to work in the house," Reham politely replied. "I'm going to my exam. I have an exam today in Kafr el Sheikh. I won't be late. I'll go and come back quickly." Fatma became angry and said, "To hell with your exam. What did others ever gain from studying? Go change your clothes and come cook and do the housework. We have a lot to do today. Your studies don't matter now." At first, Reham refused politely, but then she answered more firmly, "You want to ruin my future. I must go. If I fail, I'll have to repeat the year. And this was a condition of my marriage with my family from the start." Fatma felt her dignity had been insulted. How could Reham answer back and defy her? Fatma thought to herself, "Reham needs to be taught a lesson so she never dares talk back to me again. I'll call Tahir to come see this." She didn't call Ahmed, knowing he was weak and far away, and wouldn't solve anything. Instead, she phoned her other son, Tahir Abdel Rahman, who was at work, and told him, "Come quickly, Tahir. Your brother's wife is standing against me, talking back, arguing with me, disobeying me. Help me, son. I can't take this." Tahir, younger than Ahmed, about 25 years old, was very attached to his mother. He always obeyed her and felt like he was the protector of the family. If his mother was upset, it was his duty to act. When he heard Fatma's complaint, he became furious. That was the spark that ignited the crime in his mind. On his way home, Tahir was thinking, "I'll go threaten Reham. I'll teach her a lesson she won't forget. She won't upset my mother again." He knew he had a jerry can of thinner, a flammable substance like gasoline, which he used for cleaning his tuk-tuk engine. His reckless plan was simple. Go threaten Reham verbally, and if she resisted, use the thinner to scare her. He hadn't planned to kill her, but his rage pushed him to carry the jerry can with him. He parked the tuk-tuk outside the house, grabbed the container in his hand, and went upstairs to his brother's apartment. His heart pounded with anger as he thought, "Reham must learn to respect my mother." Fatma ran behind him on the stairs, saying, "Son, calm down. It's nothing serious. Don't do this. You'll ruin your life over a woman like Reham. She's not worth it. Just let her go." But Tahir didn't listen. His anger blinded him. He banged hard on the door. Reham opened, holding her baby in her arms, with no idea of the horror that was about to unfold. Tahir quickly snatched the baby from Reham's arms so she wouldn't get hurt and handed her to his mother, who was standing behind him. Reham screamed, "No, Tahir! What are you doing? Give me my daughter!" But Tahir splashed the entire jerry can of thinner over her, soaking her clothes and body. Reham tried to escape, running inside the apartment while screaming, "Help! Tahir is crazy. He's going to kill me." She called out for the neighbors to hear, but Tahir followed her inside. He pulled out a lighter from his pocket and immediately set her on fire, saying, "This is a lesson for you, Reham. You won't talk back to my mother again?" The flames spread across Reham's body with terrifying speed. Her clothes ignited, her skin burned. In her panic, she ran toward Fatma, pleading, "Help me! Put the fire out! I'm dying." But instead of helping with a blanket or water from the kitchen nearby, Fatma pushed her away and said, "You brought this on yourself by refusing to obey me." In horror and pain, Reham ran toward the stairs, but instead of going down to the street where neighbors could help, she accidentally ran up to the roof. There she cried out in agony, engulfed in flames, "Help me! The fire is consuming me. Tahir burned me." Neighbors, alarmed by the loud screams, rushed out of their homes. Some climbed to the roof and tried to extinguish the flames with water and blankets from nearby houses. The ambulance arrived within about 10 minutes, taking her first to Kafr El Zayat Hospital for initial emergency treatment, and then to a specialized hospital in Cairo for intensive care due to the severity of her burns. Doctors reported she has 90 to 100% burns. Her chance of survival is only 5%. She is in a coma from the pain. Immediately after the incident on January 25, 2024, the police arrived at the scene within half an hour. The officer collected testimonies from neighbors who said, "We saw Reham burning on the roof." The screams were horrifying. The smoke was thick. The fire came from inside the house. We heard shouting minutes before the flames. The police entered the apartment and found traces of thinner and fire damage inside, with a strong smell and black burn marks on the floor. They arrested Taher, who was still at the scene. He hadn't fled, he just stood there, stunned by what he had done. The officer asked him, "What did you do?" Taher confessed immediately. "I did it to defend my mother's honor." Reham talked back to her and insulted her. "I was angry. I poured the thinner and set her on fire to scare her." Fatma was also taken into custody as both a witness and a suspect in incitement. Police questioned her. "What happened?" She replied, "I only called Taher to come calm things down. I didn't mean for a crime to happen." She was released 2 days later, on January 27, 2024, due to her poor health. She suffered from heart disease and high blood pressure. She wasn't formally charged, but investigations confirmed her role in continuous incitement. The public prosecution began official investigations on January 26, 2024, interrogating Taher multiple times in detention, where he repeatedly confessed. On January 27, 2024, the prosecution ordered the renewal of Taher's detention for 4 days pending investigations on charges of attempted premeditated murder, and referred Reham for a forensic medical examination at a hospital in Cairo. The medical report stated, "Third-degree burns covering 70 to 90% of the body, including the face, chest, arms, and legs. The chances of survival are extremely low. She requires skin graft operations and respiratory support machines." Ahmed returned on January 28, 2024, in a state of total mental collapse. He visited Reham in the hospital, saw her connected to machines, her face unrecognizable. He wept and told the prosecution during interrogation, "My brother committed a horrific crime. My mother was always inciting him. I demand justice." Reham's family, especially her uncle, testified before the prosecution in a long hearing on January 29, 2024, recounting all the injustice she had suffered. Reham remained in the hospital for 20 days, from January 25 until February 14, 2024, dependent on machines, unable to eat or drink normally, sustained only through intravenous feeding. Her body was unrecognizable, and she screamed in pain even while in a coma. On February 14, 2024, Reham passed away in the hospital. The case was referred to the criminal court on March 15, 2024. Trials began in June 2024, and on November 13, 2024, the court sentenced Taher to 15 years of rigorous imprisonment for premeditated murder and arson. This was the final ruling, without appeal, and the case was closed. However, Reham's family said, "The sentence is too light. We had hoped for the death penalty." In the end, Reham's story is a harsh lesson for all of us. Violence is never a solution, and hatred destroys families like poison. May God have mercy on Reham, grant patience to her family, and make Taher's sentence a warning to everyone. If you like this story, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and comment with your opinion. Stay tuned for a new episode. Goodbye.